there is a lot of panic going on right now. Let's talk about it. Hey folks, Prepper Princess. So today I wanted to talk to you about the severe panic that seems to be going on in the United States of America. For more personalized videos and more personal interaction, please go ahead and check out my Patreon page. I have quite a bit more. It's more personal, but I have a lot more say of the content that I can put out on Patreon. And I'm also more interactive with my subscribers, and it really helps the channel grow. So go ahead, check out my Patreon page, and we'll go ahead and get started over there. And today about the panic, I usually talk really fast on my videos to get some information across, but I want to tell you guys a personal story about me, and I want you to stick with me till the end because it does have a overall encompassing, I don't know what you call it, but it'll teach you something. So a long time ago, I was part of Alameda County Search and Rescue. I was a certified swiftwater rescue technician. I'm very comfortable in the water, just as comfortable in the water as I am on land. And typically what search and rescue will do is they will find a niche in what they do. So most people would do land things because they got to use the city ATVs and use their navigation skills or whatnot. And I have always been really comfortable in water, swift water, white water rafting, white water, going through it with my body. And one of the benefits of my body stature and the way that I look is that I am very grossly underestimated in terms of physical fitness and in terms of what I'm able to be capable of. And while I was doing my swiftwater rescue training, they have you in a line on the shore, and the current is going this way and you're in a line. And because I'm underestimated, I'm always at the end. I'm always last because everyone who was in the training were police officers and firefighters that were 250, 300-pound, big, burly, giant men. And then it was just me and my friend Terry who were the only two females there. And she was much larger than me, so they assumed that she could handle more issues that may have arisen. So she was in front of me on the river as the water's going this way, and I'm last, okay? And what they were teaching us was you put these ropes in these bags and you throw the bags out, and you tie it to a tree or you tie it to a person and you follow the line out and you make a rescue. This is, of course, for people who are still alive. I didn't realize at the time when I was getting my training that it was pretty much just body recovery, but that's neither here nor there. So while we were doing our training, it was on Knights Ferry, which is typically class 2 and mild parts of class 3 rapids. And we didn't realize at the time that we were going to be making real rescues. It was in the middle of winter. The water was extremely cold, 45, 50 degrees. We were right below stream of the class 3 rapids. And while we were doing our training, we did have to make several real rescues. With being underestimated, I was last. Big burly firemen, policemen upriver. There was a 12-year-old boy who was floating downstream, screaming for help. He had fallen out of his canoe and had no life vest. Again, he was just a 12-year-old boy. He was unaccompanied by a parent because the parent had fallen out of the canoe and swam to shore earlier upstream. And he was, coughing up water and screaming for help and flailing his arms around. He was completely panicking. And they had given us the training of how to move your body through the water to make your body go faster downstream or how to make it go slower, teaching you how to pick up a victim, how to use the ropes and all these things. And there were about 15 people in our group, and again, I was one of 2 females. And this kid was going past us in the rapids, and all of the men panicked. They just stood, it's like they froze, and even with all of our training telling us exactly what to do, they froze. And I can count on my hands maybe 6 times in my entire life where a split-second decision of life and death had to be made, and I never panicked. And I saw this kid floating downstream, and I'm looking at these police officers and these firefighters, and I'm like, why isn't anyone jumping in after him? And my friend Terry, who was upstream from me a little bit, she had frozen also. And again, split-second decision, I tied the rope to the tree and I jumped out after him. I did pick up the kid, and then the way that the rope works is that when you're going downstream and you have the rope in your hand, it will let out of the bag and it's attached to the bag, and you put your arm around the bag and it will swoop you to the side of the shore. So it's the rapids will naturally take your body to the shore. And because I was last, there was a big giant shore, it kind of swept me and the kid into the trees. So I had to grab onto a tree trunk that I was holding with that. We were still in the rapids and I was holding the kid, and the kid was panicked, choking, gagging up water. And I sort of threw him on the shore because when your adrenaline's going, your strength kind of goes all crazy. And threw him up on the shore, and then all of the firefighters and policemen then started running toward us to provide assistance, I guess. And it was one moment in my life where I was so proud. Not that I did save the kid, and that was definitely something to be proud of, but I was most proud of the fact of how underestimated I was, and that I was the only one out of like these 15 people who were trained just like I was, and I was the only one out of these 15 people who did not panic. And because I did not panic, and I tied my knot to a tree and I went downstream after the kid, I saved his life. And when you panic, lives are lost. When you act quickly and think logically, even if it is in a split second, and you are prepared for it and you are trained for it, the panic is not going to set in and you're not going to make bad decisions like all of those men did when they froze. And, I'm not bragging about the situation. I'm just using it as an example, is that when you panic, people die. And I'm seeing a lot of things, not only on YouTube, but in the news, that are very panic provoked. And I'm not talking about clickbait. I'm not talking about things like that. I'm talking about actual news. The GDP is down 33%. People are kidnapping and slaughtering horses for their meat, which is horrible because that's somebody's pet. People don't realize, horses are pets. You killed somebody's pets for their meat. GDP unemployment's at like 40 million Americans. The government is now extending more benefits and providing more stimulus because our economy is in such dire straits that we can't seem to do it by ourselves. And when it comes to people, stealing and rioting and killing people's animals for meat, these are very panic-driven instances. And this is a very serious topic, but for my subscribers out there, I do not want you to panic. This channel is about preparing so that you don't have to panic when the time comes, so that you are in fact prepared for those moments in life, not just with the politics that are going on in the government and the riots, but you're prepared in life for those moments where you have to keep a level head, because if you don't keep a level head, you're going to drown. And I don't really know how to put into words, but I don't want you panicking. I want you to be clear and concise. If people are telling you, buy gold, buy silver, the dollar is going to completely collapse, take all your money out of the stock market. Well, if the dollar collapses to the point where it is literally not worth the paper that it's printed on, and you're better off, you see those pictures of economy collapses where people are burning their money by the barrel full. If our economy collapses to that point, then all the gold, all the silver, all the fiat currency in the world is going to be the least of your problems. If our economy is so bad that people are killing pets and killing animals in the street in order to survive, like Venezuela had to kill zoo animals in order to survive, and those zoo animals were already starving. If we're at that point, money does not matter. I know that people are trying to hold on to their wealth. You know, they're spending like crazy. They think that if they use their fiat currency to purchase an asset, that it's somehow going to assist them in the future. Well, I want you guys to not think of that panic type thinking. You know, if the stock market crashes to the point of beyond Great Depression levels, again, money is going to be the least of your worries. It's going to be about survival at that point. What I think you guys should be focusing on is very simple. A 3 to 6 month supply of food for you and your family, and an alternative form of electricity and transportation. So in the future, if the electric bills get so high that you cannot pay them, you will have a backup solar system so that you can still watch DVDs from the library, so that you essentially don't go crazy. That's why I always think that the internet and TV are amazing in the way that they can get your mind off the stress of everyday living. And if people watch 4 hours of TV today when the times are good, when times are bad, they're going to need that psychological release. Okay, I don't watch a lot of TV, but I do love TV on in the background, and I'm just as good with a radio. But at the same time, they're going to need that relief. When it comes to food and water, there's always a possibility of a shortage. 6 months ago, people never would have thought that there was the possibility of a food shortage, and yet we had one. That was a disruption in the supply chain. We're hearing about floods in Asian countries where 40% of their rice or wheat or soy has been completely destroyed. Last year in the Midwest, there was tons of flooding that just completely decimated crops. And these, because of climate change, these are going to be more and more prevalent. So I want you guys to just consider having food, water, and an alternative form of electricity. That's where you should start. Right after that should be your security. Boomsticks and brass are great, but if you are not comfortable with them, it's very important that you get yourself something like a cheap security camera, or I have to be very careful with my wording here, folks. Bear spray. I can't say anything else because again, this is a format that does somewhat censor our words. So I don't want you to panic. I just want you to know, if you are a prepper and you've got your 6 month supply of food, water, and security and electricity for your family, you are doing amazingly well. If you don't, you can work on that very slowly. We still have time, okay? Not a lot of time. Elections are coming up, and I strongly believe that, just saying, election time. So if you're looking for a small solar generator, something just to watch TV, go to my website, prepperprincess.com, go for the Jackery. If you're looking for something larger, something that will power, a refrigerator and a TV or laptop, modem, things along those lines, the Energy, the Flex, what's the new one called? The Apex and the Flex. Any energy product I highly support. So if you don't get it from my website, it is on my website, but if you don't get it from my website and you get a good deal from somewhere else, that's what you should go for. I highly recommend those. I'm also doing a review on a Sauki, Sauki, and it is just as good as the Jackery. So if you see that on Amazon and you find a good price, I say go for it. And those are the only things you should be concentrating on. If you feel that gold and silver are your salvation and it makes you feel more secure, then that's fine. But that should be one of the last of your preps. It should be food, water, electricity. Okay, and again, I don't want you to panic because panic gets people killed. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. Hey folks, Prepper Princess.
See those red spots on Rocky's face? See those red spots right there? Well, you may think that Rocky is just the sweetest, dopiest dog ever, but no. Rocky came to the rescue when a dog tried to attack me from behind a fence, and he attacked the other dog, and he got hurt. Mr. was protecting his mommy. Mr. Guard Dog, yes, but he got hurt because the other dog bit him in the face because the dog was trying to jump over the fence to get to me, and Rocky was being Mr. Protector. Mr. Protector dog, best guard dog I ever had, and hunter. Best hunter dog I ever had, too. You can get anything, can't you? Can't you? Such a good boy. Mommy loves you. You're my little protector.